lift me up, and I shall stand by faith on every stable land. And I have prayed that I have found, Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
Father in heaven, we want to thank you so much for a time like this. We are thanking you, Father, for the opportunity that you've given me and given to your children, Father, so that you can speak unto us. I pray that you empty me, O God, fill me with your spirit and speak through me to your children. That by the time we are all done with this presentation, each and every one of us will take in something that you have prepared for us in a very special way. We want to thank you, Lord, for an answered prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. The topic that we've been asked to discuss this morning, as I said, is on personal branding. And it's something that when you talk about, people just look at the outward. But we are going to look at the holistic branding of a person. And for us as Christians, what is personal branding and what does it do for us? What's going on? So, looking at the topic, they just asked that I talk about personal branding. But I felt that these are young people who are in school. Most of you are about to school, and you are going to enter into the world of work. And so, what has personal branding got to do with your career and the development of your career? Because I've had, as was said, I've actually been in the corporate world for the past 36 or so years, and I've been in positions where I've had to deal with a lot of people. And you can understand that many times it is not so much about just the intelligence and the knowledge that you have, but it's about other attributes that people do not take seriously. Because everybody, I said that it is very easy to go to school. It is very easy to learn. It is very easy to acquire a certificate. It may not be so easy for you to get out of attitudes and behaviors and certain, known attributes that you are so used to. And those are the things that actually set you apart sometimes. So it is not always about what you have, as I have a first class, I have that. But it's about the other things that make you so different. And so when I was asked to talk about personal branding, I decided that I will link it to our general well-being, our general life as Christians, and especially also as people who are about to enter into the world of work or already in the world of work. And so that is me. I think that was mentioned. So Stella Agyenim Boateng my name. Right. So when you think about personal branding, I want us all to look at this issue of product. Forget about yourself for now. So you go out there and you want to buy a certain product. For us ladies, you'll be looking at bags, you'll be looking at shoes, you'll be looking at clothes, and for the guys as well. Looking at the phone that you are using. Why would you go for a particular type of item and not just anything? I know there are people, when you talk about phone, there are people who are so connected to iPhone that nothing, no other brand will ever appeal to them. Those who are so much used to Samsung, nothing else will change their view about it. Why would you be so much attached to a particular brand? It is because you feel that having used that brand or having read the literature about it, having had a relationship with that brand, you can see that there is some power behind it. Some people will tell you that I use this particular phone because it gives me good pictures. It gives me something else that other brands do not give me. The power behind a brand is very important. And I'm saying that think of yourself as a product. Think of yourself as a product where you want to build a brand that everybody will be attracted to. And tell yourself that, is my brand powerful? Is it something that people will resonate with and want to run after? Who am I? Am I authentic? There are people who are just not genuine. Unfortunately, even within the church setting, there are people who do not exhibit authenticity. But people out there want to relate with human beings who are authentic. And so if you want to think of yourself as a product, or you want to build your personal brand, what is the consistency? Are you somebody who says what he or she does? Or somebody who is so inconsistent and so unpredictable that he or she changes like the weather? Or you are someone that, we can say that this is the person. That is the kind of thing, because if, for instance, we are using the product, iPhone, Samsung, whatever, the moment you decide to go for that brand, you are thinking of a certain consistent way of the things the features that it has. You are thinking of a certain consistent way of even the packaging. And that is how you need to think about yourself if you want to build your brand. There are certain values that you need to exude. There are certain things that need to be visible about you. Yes, whatever is in our inner self, it's very important, and especially for us as Christians. But what do we exhibit? What do we show to the rest of the world? If you want to build a brand, think of yourself as a product. Hello? Okay. So that is what we want to talk about. And I've said that after this lecture or this presentation, let's look at ourselves as a brand that is, so if I say me is me. Me is referring to myself, and therefore, whatever brand that you decide that this is what you want to be, this is what you should be known for, this is what people should see you for, that brand becomes you. And that is how you are selling yourself. Because remember, we are saying that our brand should be like a product. And so you are going out there selling your brand. We go out for evangelism. We do all kinds of things. We want other people to know the Christ that we serve. What are we selling? What brand are we putting out there? And that brand should be a brand that is you. And that brand needs to be unique. I've always said this, that if you talk about issues around mentorship, which is one of the things that, has become a buzzword today, mentorship is a great opportunity for young people to learn and to become their unique selves. However, some people like to be cloned to be other people, but that is impossible. And so whilst you are creating your personal brand, remember that you are creating it to build a certain uniqueness that is so much attached to you and your brand. And that uniqueness must exude excellence. You cannot build a brand that people will run after if that brand exudes mediocrity or average performance. You are looking at a brand that talks about excellence in every aspect of your life. And that is the kind of brand that you should be associated or you should be known for. So we talk about personal branding. After this bit of an intro, we are saying that by definition, personal branding is just the process by which you market yourself. And that is why we talked about visibility. You go to the market, everybody is selling the same thing. You sit in an interview, everybody is presenting a first-class certificate. What is it that makes that other person so unique, so different? How is the person marketing and selling himself or herself to be able to be bought, as it were? We have talked about the power, the clarity, the positive ideas that are associated with personal branding. And it is what you stand for. So your values, your ethical values. All of us are Christians. But what is it that we stand for that people will know of you? I ever had some conversation with a group of people, and in the conversation, they realized that I was an Adventist. Then one of them mentioned to me that, oh wow, I was an Adventist. And I asked him why. He said, well, he had to leave the church. He narrated a whole lot of issues. He felt there was no fairness. He felt there was that. He felt there was that. And I asked him, so what did you do about that? And if you listen to the story, all that he's trying to say is that what people exhibit is not who they are. And so you need to have a brand that actually exhibits the values. And it doesn't come easy. In all this, building your personal brand doesn't come easy. But with consistency, with the sacrifice, being a non-conformist sometimes is the right thing to do. Not actually conforming to the things that everybody is doing may be the right path for you to build your brand. And so how you see yourself and how others see you come together to be your brand. So if you see yourself differently, others also see you very differently. They cannot connect anything that you say to what they see of you. They cannot connect the actions that you take to what you profess to be. Then you are creating a brand that is even a confusing brand. And that is not what we want of you. All of us, when we talked about, I was so excited to know that, some of our young ones are just about to get married. Marriage is a very beautiful thing. I'm sure that a lot of you are dreaming about beautiful marriages, beautiful homes. Some of you are dreaming about wonderful jobs. Some of you already are fixated on the kind of job that you want to do. You have all these aspirations. But you see, if you continue to dream without working towards that dream, you will never achieve the reality. You will continue to be a dreamer. And that is how personal branding is. If you want to continue to say that, I want to be like this, I want to be like that, I want to have these values, and you do not work towards them, you will continue to be a dreamer. But when you want to land on any of these dreams, then remember that there are so many people who share the same profile as you. There are so many people who have come from the same kind of background as you. There are so many people who have the same kind of degrees that you have. Your profile is not different. And so if you want to build your personal brand, then it's important that you stand out of the queue. Everybody is in that queue. And that queue is so long because it's a queue of average performers. But if you want to be an outlier on the right side, then you need to stand out of the queue. And that is how you can build a brand that is so unique, a brand that is associated with the values that you espouse, a brand of excellence. Why is personal branding so important? Because you are able to take control of your personal decisions. When you know what you stand for, you are not easily confused or convinced about the wrong things that others may be standing for. But when you have nothing to protect, if you have no brand that you want to actually sell out there or market out there, then you become like, obey the wind. Wherever the wind blows you, that is where you will be going. But when you have a brand that you are protecting, that you are selling, then you become so decisive when it comes to issues. You take responsibilities for your actions. And then you go ahead and manage impressions. So you have a strong brand, a brand that can be differentiated from another. And that is what you would then be. I told you that, we are trying to link this whole personal brand to your careers, because I've seen a lot of sometimes very depressing. You have some young people, sometimes Adventists, coming for interviews, so ill prepared that there is nothing under the sun that you can do to help them. The way they look, the way they will talk, it's as if the world is just not for them in any way. In terms of, meanwhile, you want a career. And I have said it that if we do not start understanding some of these things, and we just feel that it is enough, we will come to church, we will study the word of God, and we will do all the things we have to do. But when we have to step out there, we are not allowing the teachings and the word of God to actually transform us to also take our rightful places. To the point that sometimes, even in the church, now maybe it's better, but it feels as if that even building a career, moving it to a certain level, is a challenge. Because it is as if that is not spiritual. But let's remember that we talk about Sabbath working, we talk about many other things that our young people are faced with in terms of challenges. Who is going to actually impact the policies that will help you? If all of us decide that you don't want to, you prefer to be just an average person when it comes to your career. And so I'm linking this to how we build and develop our careers so we can move to the top of the ladder and we can impact decisions that will be or inure to the benefit of people like yourselves. If you want to build your career or develop your career, there are these 4 principles that I'm talking about this morning. Appropriate preparation, that is principle 1. Getting the building blocks right. Don't rush. Young people of today want everything in a day. Young people of today think that having been to school is enough to give them the wonderful careers, wonderful roles and positions that they want. They have no amount of preparation to get into the roles. And when I talk about preparation, learning, reading, understanding the career choice that you have made, and making sure that you are getting the building blocks right by moving within the right space of time. I have seen young people who immediately start off and say, I am a consultant, for instance. And they are there. Ambition is good. And I am a very ambitious person. But your ambition must be within the right framework. You bring them as a consultant to do operational jobs and they will flop. Some of you will sidestep everything and immediately say, I want to be whoever. But if you do not get the building blocks right, you get up there, when you fall, your fall is indeed more damaging, irreparable, than if you had had a fall within the right space. And so if you want to develop your career, the first principle I have is appropriate preparation. And appropriate is important. It is not every preparation that is geared towards career development. Some of the preparations are totally out of gear. What is the second principle? Strategic positioning. If you are already working or you want to get into the space of work, remember that you need to have positive visibility. It's not just going around, baby kissing everybody, but it's making sure that you are where you need to be at the right time. And for us as Christians, when we pray and we seek the face of God, He sends us to the right place at the right time. And we need to be emphasized that a lot of young people, I've seen some Adventists, go to the workplace and they are always hiding in there. You never find them. They are not positively showing the visibility that will project them to the right places that they have to be. One of my shockers was just last Sunday. We had to be in a program, not a church program, some other program. And somebody I have known for years in the career setting, for some strange reasons, walks up to me, and I've known him, we work, we talk, to tell me that, oh, madam, do you know I'm an Adventist? Really? When? I said, since I was a child. Wow. He starts mentioning names of some pastors. I stood back and I said, really, we need to have a conversation. This is an individual that has never, in my view, projected any visible positive outlook. And I know that the next conversation you have with me is that, as for us, it's about modesty. I wonder what we mean by modesty when it is actually mediocrity. And you need to be very strategic about where you find yourself, because organizations are looking for high potential talents, not just anybody. The third is acceptable performance. You cannot be successful in building your brand or building your career without the right competencies and attributes, and without having diverse skills. If you are a one-goal person, if you are that kind of person who just looks straight and everything must fall in line with that, you will have a challenge with career development, because organizations today are looking for people with diversity, people who have different views and different knowledge about everything, not necessarily becoming a subject matter expert in all the things, but having a knowledge about other things. Because when you develop and you get into leadership positions, it is not about your subject matter per se. So if you're an engineer today and you tell me that all you want to do is engineering, that is fine. But the day that you have to be at the top, if you ever have to be, you are not going to fix the bolts and nuts. Do you know about leadership? Do you know a bit about finance? Do you know a bit about people management? What do you know? And so you need to have a performance level that is acceptable, that can propel you to take up good positions where you have breadth and not just depth. And so that is my third principle. Demonstrate high level of competence and diverse skills. The fourth one, we are talking about proper perspective. Know your future context. Some of you decide that, the world is all about Ghana. The world, as we talk about a global village, the world of work, where talent can be pulled from, is everywhere across the world. And now it has even become much more because of COVID, where you know that virtual working has become the thing. So if somebody needs a kind of skill, you don't necessarily have to look into your local market. You can just, zoom into somebody, go to the person's LinkedIn, etc. Find the skills that you need. And the person may be sitting somewhere comfortably in Australia, wherever. It's just a phone call. And the person can even work from that distance. So you remember that in your time, the competition has become even keener. And so know what globally everybody is looking for. Know your future context, your global context, and your local context. Many times I have said that when we were in the university, several years ago, I can be sure that over 90% of the young people here were not born. There were only 3 universities in Ghana. Only 3. So every year, we knew ourselves like only 3 universities. So every year, how many graduates will come out? Jobs were available. In your time, how many universities in Ghana alone? How many? You have lost count of it. And when you lose count of it, you will not know your perspective. So just go and Google for those statistics. How many people come out as graduates every year? And how many of them are doing the same course that I did? How many organizations are available to take all of us every year? And then you will understand that the competition is keener, not only locally, but I said globally. And so what else can I do to build a diverse skill that can get me to stand out of the queue? How you brand yourself is very important. So in your career, you need to always link your career development with how you build your personal brand. When we talk about building your personal brand, I want to share a few blocks, what I call the building blocks of personal branding. And I said that personal branding is not a game of chance. It doesn't just happen. It is an intentional act. It is very, very intentional. And you cannot just say that it happened. You can't build a brand that just happened. Then one day, it will just not happen. So you must be very consistent, very intentional about building your personal brand. And you need to plan how you must have a vision and need to be strategic about that vision and what kind of activities you need to roll out to be able to get to that vision. We talked about dreaming. When you dream without translating your dream into reality, then you cannot get anything out of that. And so personal branding is not a game of chance. It is not deep-rooted in superficial activities. If you just do it superficially and you are not deep-seated, you are not deep-rooted, you cannot get the right results. And so if you want to build your personal brand, you need to be meticulous and not careless. A lot of us are very careless in a lot of things. People will prepare their CVs, send to you, and you look at the CV and you ask yourself, if I want somebody who is so well organized, if I want somebody who should be able to look at all the details, is this the kind of person I'm looking for? Whose CV is full of mistakes? Whose CV is full of grammatical errors? Whose CV is so inconsistent without any form? That kind of meticulous behavior must be part of your brand. When I take it from this person, I know, I can be sure that all things being equal, everything is fine. So that person you work with will say that if I gave this report to this person to write for me, if I gave this task to that person to do for me, and I have to rush into a meeting with it, I can be sure that all things being equal, everything, 90% will be right. If you want to build your personal brand, remember that it's not a game of chance. Is the brand you are building a genuine one or a pretentious one? There are people who are in this room and maybe outside of this room. When they tell you to look up, you better look down. Because you never know what is going to, you are going to see up there. When they tell you to look down, look up, because something may be falling. They are just not genuine. There are people who are not who they are, who they say they are. And so, as young people, you make friends. You need to be very careful about what brand you are exhibiting. Because as we said, birds of the same feathers flock together. How can the two move together? Except they agree. And so if I see that this is the brand you want to build, and your brand is really not resonating with what you say you are building by your activities and associations, then the question I'll ask is, when it comes to the building blocks, is your personal brand really a genuine one, or it is a pretentious one? Some of you students, young people, you live double lives, if not triple, if not quadruple. Your parents know you differently. The church knows you differently. Your schools know you differently. Your friends know you differently. How genuine are you? What kind of brand? Is there any consistency in the brand that you are building? And so, if you want your brand to be genuine, ask yourself these questions. Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? What are your attributes? What are the things that identify you? And who or what do others know or think about you? And others will not only be others in your home, not only others in the church. There are people who will come to church and they are the best, holy people that you can find. The best to serve in every activity. But they will not even lift a finger to help at home. They go to work and they will tell every lie to get out of work so they can do their own things. You tell a lie that you are sick today, so you can't come to work. So you can come to church and you think that is a blessing. So who are you? What do people know you for? People connect with real stories. People connect with people who are people. People don't want to connect with concocted stories and concocted people. And so if you are not genuine and anybody finds out, then indeed your whole personal brand, that block is broken. And it's very difficult to fix it. Your personal brand needs to have continuous improvement and not complacency. Some of us are so complacent, we think we have arrived. We think that what we know is enough to propel us to the next stage. But if you want to build a brand, we are talking about everyday improvement. None of us, and my senior colleagues are here, none of us will ever think that you will not learn again, that you will not study again. But what about some of you? You think you know it all. So if you build a personal brand that doesn't have curiosity and intuitiveness, be curious about knowing the right things. I think when we're going through the prayers, one thing that really touched me, and it's always been a burden, is that young people of today would rather spend their time to look at pornography. They would rather spend their time on social media to look at the wrong things. And so a lot of us, even adults, have branded social media as bad. But social media is so good because it can give you all the other good things. But young people today, instead of continuous improvement, they think they have arrived. They are so complacent that they want to veer into other areas. And the devil always gets you into the wrong areas. So you need to keep abreast with times and trends for the right reason, for growth, for development. And you don't have to limit yourself. Again, I find that very worrying, especially within our sector as Adventists. A lot of our young people are not ambitious. We don't aim high. Why that? Because we think that it is unspiritual to be ambitious. In our part of the world, when you even talk about somebody is ambitious, there's so much negativity around it. Is that not right? If you say somebody is ambitious, what do you think? This woman is too ambitious. What do you think? Pride? Superstitious? Supercilious? Yes. I cannot hear. You see, this is what I talk about. We've got to be bold. Say what you want to say. It's part of the brand. We can say that this person is really an empowered, bold person. Yes, I'm saying that, especially when you are a woman, and we talk about ambition, a woman must not be ambitious. When it's a woman, ambition is negative, it's wrong. When it's a man, yes, this guy is really out there. And that is another topic to discuss another time with my young ladies. But I'm telling you that if you want to continue to move and build a good brand, don't limit yourself. Have strong selling points. What are your strengths? What are the things that will really attract any employer, for that matter, to want to have deeper conversations with you? What selling points do you have? How do you project yourself? What level of confidence are you exhibiting? What kind of communication skill do you have? What kind of things will let people see you as credible and relevant? Many young people, what do? You follow the crowd. You don't follow your passion. Some of you are doing the courses you are doing today in the universities, not because you loved them or you even knew what they were about. Because your friend said, hey, now, here everybody is doing ICT. So you go, then you do it. Hey, everybody is doing marketing. You go and do it. Oh, today I hear when you do HR, you go and do it. Oh, it's about engineering. You go and do it. Follow your passion and not what the crowd is doing. And that is what will let you stand out. Because when you have passion for what you are doing, you do it and you do it better. And that becomes who you are as an expert. What values do you espouse? Are you espousing values or vices? What kind of brand? If I were to ask about you, top of mind, what will anybody say? Oh, that guy. Oh, is it that lady you're talking about? Oh, wow. Hey, that guy. Hey, that lady. The tone, the tonation alone is able to tell you what kind of brand that person has built. So if you have values, make sure you are dealing with your values and not vices. So religion, like I said, there are people who even hide the fact that they are Adventists. There are people who even hide the fact that they are Christians at the workplace because you want to do what everybody else is doing. So you rather project a brand that is vicious and not a brand that is priceless as value. Your integrity or not having integrity is not only about stealing state money, as everybody will think. It's about the little thing that you also do. The lies. The other things, you do in darkness that nobody else knows. Condoning and conniving. If those become your level of integrity or disintegrity, then that becomes your brand. So the next time you need somebody who has great integrity to do some kind of assignment, to take up some kind of role, say no. When it comes to integrity, it is not this person. So you need to make sure that you are ethical and make sure that your beliefs, your values should espouse your beliefs. What do you believe in? Is it a wind that is just blowing you anywhere, or you have strong, deep-rooted beliefs and deliver on your promises? This is the kind of brand. Be an outlier. Left, not really great. Be an outlier on the right. When you draw the bell curve, everybody is in here. Those few that have stood out, that is what your personal brand, if you build it well, will actually do for you. Our socialization, interpersonal relationships, some of us never make friends. Adventists, we will go for instead we talk about evangelism, we will go out there to knock at people's doors to evangelize. Even when we have the opportunity to be in the same kind of circumstance, conference, etc. with other people, what do? A great opportunity to evangelize, we all sit at one side because they are worldly. How do you take advantage and socialize and be able to build relationships which will catapult you to get to evangelize to the same people one time or the other? And so some people, I ever remember somebody, asking me one time, "Oh, Madam, you are an Adventist?" I said, "Yes." So, what Bible do you use? And I got confused. I said, Bible is Bible. Said, I always thought that because I've seen your signboards, and when I see it, it feels as if you have a different Bible. So I'm just trying to find out. Because we are not even showcasing who we are. People don't know what we have. You want to build a personal brand, look at the style of the brand. A style that actually has life, not a stale one. Some of us think that even when you try to look good, look decent and presentable, it is sinful. So they will come so shabbily at every point. I've sat in an interviewing Adventists because this was something that I do once in a while for ADRA. And people came for the interview, only Adventists. Some actually come with ironed dresses. Even ironing, you think that means you are worldly. So you come there. And I never mince words with these things. And I told them that if you were competing with other people, you never would have gotten this job. And I never would have recommended you. Because even how you present your brand, just anything goes. But remember that you need to stand out. You don't have to be indecent. but you don't have to also look so stale in the way you look. So carry yourself with esteem. Have confidence. Have a voice. Communicate with confidence. Your verbal, your non-verbal, your everything written, there should be that confidence that you are exuding, and that should be part of your brand. Everybody should know that this person, this is a show warmth and respect to others, and enhance your personality. Enhance your personality. And I've said it. You will come with just anything. But remember that there's something that should even attract the person to want to have a conversation with you. We are going for evangelism. And if you want to look the way you are looking, very shabby and all that, you knock at a certain door and you say, no, this is not the place for you. But maybe that person needs salvation. But you have been the stumbling block because you haven't paid attention to the brand that you are exhibiting. So you have to keep evolving, and then you make a difference. Do you have presence, or you are just present? In this room, there are people who are just present, who thinks he or she is just present. Do we understand what I'm saying? There are people who are only counted as part of the statistics. I'm sure that after this, your leaders have data. And they may tell, oh, it was a very successful conference. Oh, we had over 200 people attending. But actually, out of the 200, how many of them had presence? Maybe 15. How did you register your presence? How did you showcase that I am here? And you know why we do that? Because we think that when the person stands up to present, to make a speech, to say this, to answer questions, to try and show that positive visibility, you are showing off. It means you are not Christian enough. But when I am quiet and I'm sitting there, I come, I go, I come, I go. That is spirituality. Who told you that? And so you need to exhibit presence and not just be present. So you need to have appropriate visibility. Start to be counted. Some of you cannot be counted. Don't be a forgotten member of the team. Even sometimes when we are to have breakout sessions, whether at work or in church or wherever in social, settings, there are people who, if anybody, the team leader is even supposed to just mention who are your team members. There are some names that will be forgotten. Let it never be said that was your name. Because it means that even in that small circle, you had no presence. And the reason you have no presence is that we don't prepare. You remember I told you about appropriate preparation. Some of you get into some of those, activities without any knowledge of what they are going to do. You are at the workplace. You want to get to the top. You want to have presence. You are going for a meeting. The agenda items have been shared. Whether you have knowledge or not, you just go in and look for the information. You try to learn about the agenda items. You go into the meeting so you can have a voice. You can speak up. You can share your opinion, what you think. Everybody should know that when this individual is here, you always ask a question or give a contribution. But no, we will sit. How many people came for the meeting? 10. Who are they? Oh, that. But that's 8. Yeah, I've forgotten 2. I've forgotten 2. Okay, let me refer to my paper. Of course, on the paper, your name will be there. You were only present. You had no presence. You use social media. We've talked about it. What do you use social media for? Today, when employers want certain skills, we are going to people's LinkedIn to find out about their careers, what skills they have. What I can find only of you will be what? Tell me. Sorry? You say you can't talk. Your picture. A picture displaying what? your style of dress, the party you attended, the fact that I came for NAS Congress. So what? Today, like I said, your competition is keener than any time that I have witnessed. You want to go to the LinkedIn to say that I need somebody of this caliber. Who can I find? I go to your page and I can only find a picture, nothing more. If you want to build your personal brand, cling to that. Hold it fast. Protect your brand, because that is what defines you. Don't be suspicious of your own self, to the point that when there are people who don't own their space. They don't have any space. Own your space, and that is what confidence brings. Know where you are and own your space. You say somebody, you're looking so lovely, Chelsea. And by the way, Chelsea is my granddaughter. You're looking so lovely. And then say, what will typically people say? Are you sure? You don't even have confidence in your own self. But somebody will say, thank you. Because when I say thank you, it means, hey, you are proud. But when I say, are you sure? It means that, she's so modest. What has modesty got to do with you leaving your house, wanting to look a particular decent way? If that person is not sure, that means you are not sure. And if you are not sure, how did you step out not being sure of how you want to look or how people should address you? Remember that you need to embrace your strengths. Embrace your strengths and own your space. All of us, there's a particular topic in school that we love. I know. When you talk about SWOT analysis, how many of you know about SWOT analysis? 2 hands, 3 hands, SWOT analysis. Tell me. I'm not going to ask you any question. Don't worry. So you just raise up your hand. SWOT analysis. Yes. And if you go to the exam room and that question comes, wow. Whilst you are using the right hand to write, the left hand is up asking for more papers. Because, Charlie, this one, sit down, have a reflection, and ask yourself whether you, as a person, you have ever done what I call personal SWOT before. As you sit here, do you know what your strengths are? People come for interview. What are your strengths? And I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm that, and I pay attention to details, and I'm that. But I go into the CV and all mistakes. Okay, so your strengths. Your genuine strengths. What are the weaknesses that you have identified? And that is where mentoring, etc. comes in. What are the opportunities that are around you that you need to take advantage of? And where are the threats? So if you know your strength, you work to consolidate them. If you know genuinely these are your weaknesses, you work to fix them. And when there are opportunities you have identified, you work to grab those opportunities. And when there are threats that you know these are threats that will actually hamper me getting to where I want to be, you work to ward off those threats. We learn in school to practicalize that in our lives. And so if you want to build a personal brand, own your space by knowing who you are, using the self-SWOT, and that will give you that awareness. So you ask yourself, what really makes you special? If we say you are unique, how does that translate to? And what do you want to be known for? You need to seek feedback. Young people of today don't like feedback. When you want to tell them to their face that this is it, this is not right, even in a way that is not, worrying. So long as that feedback is not what they were expecting, or it's not positive as far as they are concerned, they will frown. And do you know what you people do? You see, adults will be adults, okay? There are times that even in the church, you see young people and you think that you need to talk to them about something and give them some feedback. What do they do the next time they see you? They pretend they haven't seen you. And when they realize that, no, I'm coming face to face with this woman, what do? They just pick the phone and pretend that they are talking to somebody so that you will not engage them in a conversation because you are, and that is true. And you think that when that is seen, the next time you are not going to get that feedback. And so you are going to perpetuate the wrong that you do as a young person. You'll take it to the workplace, and that will be the end of you. You'll be limited. But when you are ready to say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. But okay, so how do you help me to even get over that? Then you want to build a brand. One of my bosses I worked with said, feedback is the best gift that anybody can give to you. But today, young people, what kind of gift do you want? iPhone. What? What do you want? I wish you had said it. I would have provided that for you. But when you get feedback, you'll be able to work on yourself. Build your personal brand and make sure that you are standing out. And when you have built the brand, always keep your brand in shape. It is not once saved, always saved. You need to continuously work to make sure that you are keeping the brand evolving, you are keeping it active, you are keeping it in style, you are keeping it such that it can stand the test of time any day. And when you maintain that brand, indeed, you'll be able to say that, yes, this is how God has made me, this is how unique I am, and this is what God wants me to do, and you'll be able to impact others. So if you want to strengthen your brand, learn to stand out from the crowd. You need to stand out from the crowd. And to do that, sometimes you need to ask yourself some of these questions. If you need assistance, who is it that can assist you? What is the target audience? What do you really want? What can make the change? And how can you reach the people who can help you? You make relevant adjustments to your life. Today you have studied it. What are your gaps? Is it educational gap? Is it experience gap? Is it a relationship gap? Begin to act your part by appreciating, not be in a state of denial that this is me, so that you can begin to act your part and others will be ready to help you. You make and build influential relationships. Build the right network. And your network is your net worth. And remember that word, network. Net. We know net. Net. How would you describe it? It's a connection. It's like a web. Is that right? It's something that can entangle you. Okay? So when you get into a net and you get into the wrong net will entangle you, because net is always complex. Sometimes you don't even know how you got into that net and how that net can. If a mosquito gets into your mosquito net, I'm sure the mosquito knows how it got in, but how to get out. So you have the opportunity to kill it. So if young people, we are talking about networking, and you get into the wrong network or the wrong net, you can be so entangled that the outcome, you may be killed like the mosquito. But if you get into the right net, that right net will be full of people who can help you, who are ready to lift you as they are rising. And you will grow in that net. But it is not for nothing that it says network. It means that when you are in that net, you must work. You must be active. You must have presence. You must be seen. You must make sacrifices. So when you even get into that net, a professional network, and you are passive, nobody knows you, you don't ask questions, you will be in that network only as a number, but you will never benefit from that network. It's not for nothing that it is called network. So get into that right net, work in that net, and your network will become your net worth. Network is like a currency. How poor or how rich you are, not in terms of money, it's the kind of network that you associate yourself with. And that will be your brand. So you make a lot of gains when you build your personal brand. You develop yourself, you have reputational success, you become visible. When you are mentioned, people have a certain expectation. So you live up to that expectation, and you build right leadership opportunities for yourself, and you build patience to go on that journey with continuous improvement. And so the question is, always make sure. Remember that impressions matter. Some of you will tell you, don't mind the body, mind the engine. Who told you that before you buy that, then you go and inspect the engine first? That car attracted you first before you looked at the engine. So you are a lady and don't mind the body. You walk like that. And see, well, if they don't come, then elders and pastors have to pray and pray and pray and pray. Why? Because you don't want to mind the body. Don't mind the body. Those who are looking for the body first before they realize that, oh, you have these attributes, are also there. So package your brand well, be calm and open, positive attitude, effective communication, be groomed, confident, resilient, approachable, and friendly but firm. Don't let anybody take your friendliness, to be a weakness, and be professional in everything that you do. At the end of the day, how you look, plus how you speak, plus how you act, equal to your personal brand. And if you don't brand yourself, others will brand you based on what they know. So you better start working intentionally towards building your personal brand before others brand you. What kind of brand do you want to be? That is the question. The takeaways are that forget not that there is a synergy between your career progression and your personal brand. Maintain the balance so that you can maintain your focus and on both. Finally, young ladies, and I want to advise you that don't be a name tag. Be a brand. That when that name is mentioned, it's associated with a certain brand, a brand of excellence. Let that brand be the brand called. Thank you.
And I shall stand by faith on every stable land. And I have prayed that I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher